I'm Corbitt with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, November the 5th, brought to you in part by Performance Livestock Analytics. Performance Beef helps you with feeding accuracy, herd health, invoicing, closeouts. You can stay connected with those that are most important to your operation, namely the nutritionist, the veterinarian, and your ag lender. Always improving and updating their services, guys. For more information, go to performancelivestockanalytics.com. Border uncertainty. And that's one thing that our cattle futures cannot handle is uncertainty, especially when it comes to something as important as the border. But I heard a guy telling me on Tuesday that, CME cattle futures is kind of like a wild dog. And about the time you think that he's getting calm enough that you can reach out and pet him, he tries to bite your arm off. And that's a lot like your CME cattle futures, guys. They're just whipsawing one way and then the other. They're so sensitive to just anything that's going on. And of course, we know it's such a shallow pool. Your funds like to dominate it, and we have to have the funds to be on the long side. But the traders in Chicago are just taking advantage of every move, and of course your algorithms, your computer algorithms that all your big commodity brokers have, they take advantage of it too. When they see it going a little bit one way or the other, they just roll it, and it's been just going that way here for the last 3 weeks or so, especially since we saw the government come in and start talking about beef more. And it seems like we've been talking about Secretary Brooke Rollins, the Ag Secretary, more than we've ever really talked about an Ag Secretary before. But she was in the news again on Tuesday. Rollins was meeting with Mexico, and they had several meetings, and nobody knows exactly what was talking about. But of course, Mexico wants the border open. Texas wants the border open. A lot of your other cattle producers want to keep it closed, but Secretary Rollins she's saying that the border is to remain closed for now, but that she is impressed with the strides that Mexico has been taking, trying to control the movement of cattle and the spread of the screwworm. So she is noticing that they are trying to do something about it. There's been 11 cases of screwworm down in Mexico in recent months, and as far as we know, it hasn't crossed the border yet. We've heard a couple cases that were just false alarms that we thought had happened over here, but so far they've been keeping it down there, and she would like them to keep it. She knows they're going to have some of it down towards Central America, but I tell you what. About 250,000 cattle are waiting south of the border to come across when she opens the border. And it is going to open at some point, guys. It is going to open at some point. Our cattle business in the United States is used to that border being open, and our beef markets are used to it being open, just like with Canada. You know, we take a lot of cattle from Mexico. They buy beef back from us. They don't take many cattle, mostly just breeding stock and stuff like that. Now, Canada, they take our cattle and they take them away and they slaughter them up there. Sometimes they take cattle up there, feed them, and bring them back. But we're used to having swinging doors on our north and south border as far as cattle go, and it is going to open at some point. We don't know when it's going to open. A lot of us are thinking that might open right after the first of the year when temperatures are cold and that screwworm is not as active, but we don't know as of yet, and we can't get a real definitive answer from her. I guess her definitive answer on Tuesday is that the border is to remain closed for now, but she continues to talk to Mexico about it, and I don't know how many times they've rehashed it, but so far we don't have a set date when they might open that border to cattle crossings there. But the board is looking for reasons to be volatile, and it doesn't take much of anything to make it be volatile. And as I mentioned on our last visit, almost everything that happens in the world, I don't care if it's political, if it's weather, almost everything that goes on in world politics and in world news is negative to our CME cattle futures. And here we are with the best fundamentals that we've had in 75 years for the cattle market to be higher, and the board wants to be lower all the time. It was sharply lower on Tuesday after being sharply higher, but not as sharply higher on Monday. And you know, in my title of my Monday report was "We're back," but then the board giveth and the board taketh away. It's so frustrating. I tell you what, and we don't know exactly how it's going to pan out, but we can be assured that eventually the board's going to open, guys, and we just need to get used to that. And we need to make people aware that it is going to open so it won't be such a downer when it does. Because the board, for the most part, has always been open. Since May, it hasn't been open here. But we can handle the board being open. It's not that big a deal. We can actually handle it being open. Our Texas feedlots will fill back up, and then we'll manage it like we always have. But we just need to spread the word that eventually the board's going to open, and when it does, it doesn't mean that the cattle futures have to be limit down day after day after day, and everything's going in the tank. We've still got the lowest cow herd numbers in this country that we've had for 75 years, so we're real short of cattle. I want to tell you about a sale that's happening here on Wednesday at the Enid Livestock Market in Enid, Oklahoma. That is an up-and-coming sale there in Dakota. Davis is doing such a good job. He's going to have 3,000 plus on Wednesday. He's going to have a 2-day sale for a while. He's going to have his feeders on Wednesday and sell the cows on Thursday to keep from running so long and just to make it easier on everybody. But here today on Wednesday, he's going to start calves at 9 o'clock in the morning. He's going to sell groups of calves there. At 10:30 is going to start selling loads of yearling cattle, yearling feeders. He's got 15 loads to sell. That's a lot of yearlings this time of the year, guys. He's got 3 loads of 9-weight steers, 3 loads of 8-weight steers, 3 loads of 7-weight steers, and 6 loads of 7 to 8-weight heifers. That should attract some attention, guys. And then whenever he finishes up with those loads of yearlings, he's going to go back and finish up with all the calves. He's got 800 head of weaned calves, 400 to 600 pounds, that are ready to turn out on wheat. Where are you going to find that? He's got 1,000 head of calves right off the cow, most of them having their shots weighing from 300 to 600 pounds. So check out that sale at Enid Livestock Market. It'll be on DVAuction.com. Call in a little bit early, get approved, make sure you're ready to bid in case you want to. But that'll be a really good sale there at Enid, Oklahoma. You know, for all you other sale barns that haven't done it yet, we welcome you to join the DVAuction family of broadcasted barns. We've added a lot of barns here in the last month or two here, guys. Some of them we've added on to other platforms that are broadcasting, but we think we have something to offer here, and we absolutely do here at DVAuction. You can't get more promotion, more support, more technical support, and more customer service than you can get with DVAuction, guys. Just like last week, the guys hooked up about 4 barns up in Iowa, Keosauqua, Iowa there. They hooked that barn up. And for their very first broadcasted sale, and they were selling all classes of livestock, they got over 2,400 bids on DVAuction. Now, how do you match that, guys? They wouldn't have been there if they didn't have DVAuction hooked up. But we've got a lot of happy customers here at DVAuction. Get on to Callaway Livestock in Kingdom City, Missouri, on Thursday night. It's their November cow special, and it is really going to be something. They're going to start a little bit earlier than normal there at Callaway. At 5 o'clock in the evening, they're going to have 35 head of Leachman bulls that they're going to sell. They're going to sell those. Then at 6 o'clock, they got a few in their regular bull offering, but they've got like 700 cows and replacements to sell on a Thursday evening there at Callaway Livestock Center in Kingdom City, Missouri. They've got 150 first calf heifer pairs. They'll be fancy, due to calve from February 15th to March the 1st. Just right for you guys. 150 head of fancy black 3 to 5 year old fall pairs. They'll be coming through. You can view and bid them on DVAuction if you can't make it to the sale barn. And then 200 head of fancy black 3 to 5 year old bred cows. So that's a sale you definitely want to pay attention to if you want to add some replacements to your herd. Get on to DVAuction.com and view and bid that Callaway sale at Callaway Livestock Center, Kingdom City, Missouri. Tell you about the board on Tuesday. December live cattle futures were down 442 at 227.77. February was down 502 at 225.37. Your back months on live cattle down 380 to down 452. November feeder cattle down 760 at 334.97, and that is dipping well under your index levels, but it doesn't have to meet up for a few weeks here, so they have levity to take it that far. January feeder cattle down 730 at 329.22, and then your back months on feeder cattle were consistently lower, from 7 1/4 lower to 7.75 lower. Look at your grains. December corn down 3.5 cents a bushel at 4.30 3/4. January beans down 14 cents at 11.20 1/4. And your hard red winter wheat for December up 4.5 cents a bushel at 5.36 1/4. Look at your fat cattle trade, and there was none, which is encouraging. It's encouraging this early in the week that we don't have any weak sisters falling for those lower bids, and I didn't hear of any bids from packers bidding on fat cattle, direct basis negotiated on Tuesday, and there was not any trade recorded confirmed. But we did have our market finder up in Yankton, South Dakota, like we always do on Tuesday. They're a DV auction broadcaster. Stockman's livestock market in Yankton had 1,500 fed cattle in overnight, 1,950 for their fed cattle auction. For the most part, your auction fed cattle auction was $2 to $6 higher at Stockman's livestock. The conventional fed cattle sell from $228 to $237. Program cattle selling from $233 to $240.50, with the drug-free cattle up to $244.50. They did have heiferettes there selling from $202 to $223 on Tuesday in Yankton, South Dakota. Box beef cutout values were mixed. Choice cuts down 167 at 377.58. The selects were up 132 at 361 1/4. Slaughter so far, just through the first 2 days of the week, estimated cattle slaughter 227,000. That's 3,000 more than this point last week, 19,000 less than the same point a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. You might want to think about introducing Charolais genetics to your herd, guys. Charolais provides the ability to outperform at weaning for more dollars per head, no matter what the market is, and pounds add up faster than dollars do when you're selling calves, guys. And you can do all this with industry approval with Charolais. Just about whatever you cross them with, you get industry approval there, guys. For more information, go to poundsmatter.com. Look at your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. They are working to protect your livelihood, guys. Your real-time index at the end of Tuesday's sales sitting at 349.61 based on an 800-pound cash auction steer. That was up 387. Your markets were some lower, but getting rid of those early week, it's a 7-day moving average, so getting rid of some of those early week sales last week helps pump it up a little bit more, but up 387 on Tuesday. And your latest CME cash feeder cattle index was sitting at 346.79. Another sale I want to tell you about that's happening here on Wednesday is Central Plains Stockyards in Humiston, Iowa. Tell you what, that barn, it's been around for a long time, It's recently been purchased by our friend Russell Sleep and his wife Lacey. They're having a customer appreciation day here on Wednesday. They're having a barbecue, free barbecue for those in attendance. It's a special grand opening, ribbon cutting. It's going to start at 10 o'clock in the morning here on Wednesday. They've got a nice offering of calves and yearlings. They're a DV auction broadcaster, guys. If you can't make it up there, you can view and bid that sale at DVAuction.com. And then a production sale that's coming up this week is the Memory Ranches in Wells, Nevada. Now that sale is going to be happening on Thursday. And I tell you what, they've got red and black Angus bulls to sell. It's at 2 o'clock Central Time. It's earlier than that out west, but 2 o'clock Central Time. My friend Eric Dries is going to be selling that sale. I tell you what, this is high altitude desert cattle. These are rugged bulls. They'll go to work for you. They don't baby them. These are working bulls, guys. And take them to your place. They think they died and went to heaven. They will go right to work there. And Memory Ranches has an outstanding record of how they've been getting along there, guys. View and bid that sale at DVAuction.com also. Let's talk about your big sales on Tuesday. Of course, Beaver County Stockyards had 4,450 head of feeder cattle and calves on Tuesday. The feeder cattle sold $5 to $15 higher. Steer calves were $30 to $50 higher. And the heifer calves selling $5 to $10 higher. It was your Superior Steel Sales, home of Superior Standard Livestock Handling Equipment, stick out sale of the day. And you look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central, you can see your best tested weights, and it was most of them. 326 head of 4-weight steers and beaver, averaged 453 with a weighted average price of $490.59. There were 885 head of the 5-weight steer calves. They averaged 555 at $433.98. 499 head of the 6-weight steers averaged 647 at $390.67. There were 637 head of the 8-weight feeder steers. They averaged 854 pounds at $350.40. 312 head of the 9-weight steers averaged 928 at $346.52. Now let's look at some of the heifers. 258 head of the 4-weight heifer calves averaged 460 at $380.71. 344 head of the 5-weight heifers averaged 548 at $344.53. There were 442 head of the 6-weight heifers averaged 657 at $332.58, and 215 head of the 7-weight heifers. Beaver County Stockyards, Beaver, Oklahoma, averaged 740 pounds with a weighted average price of $330.20. Now, the most impressive quote that I saw out of Beaver on Tuesday, and it was one of the most impressive quotes that was anywhere in the country on Tuesday, was 117 head of 873-pound steers bring $365. That's a big-time quote, the way things have been here the last couple of weeks, guys. Another sale I want to give you some quotes out of was up in the Northern Plains, way up there in Dickinson, North Dakota, at Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the West Barn. They had 4,200 for the calf special in the West Barn there. Impressive. And I want to give you the calf quotes about some North Dakota calves. They sold $20 to $50 higher. They had 268 head of 4-weight steer calves. They averaged 458 at $486.54. 984 head of the 5-weight steers averaged 550 at $450.85. And 857 head of 6-weight steer calves, Dickinson, North Dakota, averaged 634 at $399.81. How about the heifer calves up there? 402 head of them averaged 450 in the 4-weight category with a weighted average price of $448.50. 657 head of the 5-weight heifers averaged 540 at $402.02. And 224 head of the 6-weight heifers at Stockman's Livestock Exchange averaged 623 at $381.42. the most impressive quote out of all of those that come out of Stockman's Livestock Exchange West Barn on some calves was 55 head of 591 pound steer calves weighing nearly 6 guys at 447. Let me give you some individual quotes from all around that I thought were impressive. How about Lolly Brothers Livestock Market in Macon, Missouri? They sold some heifers awful high, and these were feeder heifers, guys. 77 head, 675 pound feeder heifers at 374.85. How about Philip Livestock Auction, like to call him Philip the Giant? They sold 85 steers weighed 712 at 404. We don't see many 7 weights over $4 anymore, guys. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come from my friend Brad Hahn in Fredonia, Kansas. They had a heck of a sale in Fredonia, guys. It was 53 yearling steers weighed 933 at 355.85. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.
The power of pay weight starts with a Charolais bull. Superior weaning weight matters in your operation, and every pound translates to profit. Rely on the pay weight specialist to deliver more dollars per head per calf weaned. To make a difference on your next calf crop, start with Charolais. No matter the market, Charolais sired calves deliver the performance that increases your take-home pay. That's the Charolais pay weight advantage.